Silvera, a radiant forest fairy, lived among the ancient woods, tending to its creatures and protecting its magical harmony. One moonlit night, while collecting herbs near a shimmering stream, she stumbled upon a wounded figure slumped against a tree. His clothes were torn, his body scarred, and his breathing ragged. As she approached, he growled weakly, revealing sharp fangs and glowing amber eyes. "Leave me," he rasped. But Silvera's compassionate heart refused to ignore him. "You're hurt, let me help you," she said softly. Realizing he had no strength to refuse, the werewolf reluctantly allowed her to heal his wounds with her shimmering fairy magic. Over the days, she nursed him back to health, learning his name was Kale. He was a lone werewolf, shunned by his pack for reasons he didn't reveal. As Kale healed, he and Silvera spent more time together. She shared stories of her life among the fairies, while he spoke of his struggles as a werewolf. They were opposites, light and shadow, grace and primal strength, but their connection deepened with every conversation. One evening, beneath the silver light of the full moon, Kale transformed. Silvera watched in awe, not fear, as his wolf form emerged. "You don't frighten me," she whispered, reaching out to touch his fur. "No one's ever looked at me like that," Kale murmured, his voice rough but filled with emotion. Their love blossomed in secret, hidden from both her fairy kin and his former pack. They met under moonlit skies, cherishing their stolen moments. One fateful morning, Silvera revealed she was with child. Kale's joy quickly turned to dread. "Silvera, you don't understand," he said, his voice trembling. He explained the ancient curse that plagued his bloodline. A child born of a werewolf and another magical being would inherit all their parents' gifts but at a great cost. "Our child will shift between three forms, human, wolf, and fairy, under every full moon. If they cannot control it, they could lose themselves to the beast within." Despite the warning, Silvera remained steadfast. "We will teach our child to embrace every part of who they are," she said, determination shining in her eyes. When the time came for Silvera to give birth, the full moon hung heavy in the sky. The forest trembled as powerful magic surged through the air. Kale stood guard, his senses on high alert, while Silvera endured the labor with quiet strength. At the stroke of midnight, their child was born, a girl with delicate wings like Silvera, golden eyes like Kale, and an aura of untamed magic. As she cried for the first time, the moon's light bathed her, triggering her first transformation. Her wings vanished, replaced by fur and claws, but only for a moment before she shifted back to a human-like form. Silvera held her tightly, whispering soothing words. "You are loved, no matter what form you take," she promised. Raising their daughter, whom they named Lyric, proved to be both a joy and a challenge. Under the full moon, her transformations became unpredictable, and her powers occasionally spiraled out of control. Kale taught her the ways of the wolf, how to harness her strength and instincts without letting them consume her. Silvera, meanwhile, guided her in mastering fairy magic, teaching her patience and balance. Their secret was threatened when Silvera's fairy kin discovered Kale's presence. The fairies demanded he leave, fearing the child's unpredictable nature would bring chaos to the forest. At the same time, Kale's former pack sought to claim Lyric as one of their own, believing she could lead them to dominance. To protect their family, Kale and Silvera united their strengths. Silvera used her magic to create a protective barrier around their home, while Kale stood guard, fending off any who dared to cross it. But it was Lyric, their daughter, who ultimately proved that she was more than the sum of her parts. During a confrontation between the fairies and the werewolves, Lyric stepped forward. Shifting seamlessly between her three forms, she demonstrated how her unique nature brought balance and harmony. "Light and shadow, magic and instinct, I am all of it," she said. Her words, though spoken by a child, carried the weight of wisdom. Moved by her courage, the fairies and werewolves agreed to a truce, leaving the family in peace. As Lyric grew, she became a bridge between the worlds of fairies and werewolves, proving that love and understanding could overcome even the oldest curses. Under the light of every full moon, Kale, Silvera, and Lyric stood together as a family, unbreakable and united in their love. Moral of the story: embracing our differences can lead to harmony, and love has the power to overcome even the most daunting challenges.